I also don't really recognize like hierarchy very often. Um, People expose themselves of how they or who they are and how they are and who they really are, um, by how they talk, and it's really hard to give someone the the respect just because the title is given to them. Be like, okay, the title's given to you, but you are you know. So it's very difficult to fall into that, because I see people as who they are. I don't see them by how society tries to create people in who their how society sees people how they should be. Hopefully that made sense. So it makes that really difficult. I don't know if other INTPs are like this, but I really actually don't like watching movies, listening to music, really drinking anything else but water. I don't like cooking very often. If Because really I feel satisfied if I go in the kitchen, grab an apple, I'm good. Maybe a banana, eat a bag of carrots. I have to remind myself to drink water, because my biggest problem is that I actually get to a point where I'm so caught up in what I'm doing, I literally forget, oh yeah, I need to go to the bathroom. Something as simple as that. Um, and Yeah, I hate spending so much time like cooking something when like 15 minutes, 20 minutes to cook something, and it took you like 2 seconds to eat it. Um, that's it's silly to me. The necessities of life, like eating, drinking, sleeping, uh, showering. But I've gotten better at showering, most definitely. When I was a kid, I hated it. I actually like it now because now I can actually think and process, and it's very soothing with like the hot water on me. It stops my brain because, or not stops my brain, it concentrates my brain. My problem is my brain buzzes so much. It's just like filled with noise. Like sometimes there's not even actual thoughts in my head, but like sometimes I just need to make random noises, um, like animal noises, truck noises. I love beatboxing. I'm not good at it, but I, I beatbox. It's just to soothe the noise in my head, and it really just kind of feels like, when you're in a massaging chair, and when it starts to massage and you hear that kind of noise, that's what it feels like, and that's what it seems to hear or sound like in my head. And so that's also why it becomes very difficult to sleep, because it's racing, but it's not thinking about anything. It's empty. It's just a cluttered mess. Also doesn't help where it's just since I can't really concentrate on one thing, one task at a time. I'm so sporadic. I'll be working on one task, and then before I know it, I'm doing another task. Like for instance, I'm supposed to be writing an essay right now, but then so like the language I was talking about, I'm making, all of a sudden the pathways in my mind were clear, and all of a sudden I now know how to do the part of the language that I was maybe stuck at. And so I would be doing what I'd be hating for just a little bit, and then the rest of the night we're, making the language and stuff like that. INTPs do not understand sarcasm at all. Like for me personally, I'm a very personable, truthful individual, and so when I hear people being sarcastic, I take it as a truthful response, and their body language is truthful. I'm like, wow, that's mean or something like that, and I'll totally miss it. I get better at it, and I try to relay sarcasm of my own, but it's just because I'm so focused on being honest of like who you really are, to another person, and wanting to actually receive honesty from them. And like I was saying before, I know, like I said, that I will change kind of depending on who I'm talking to. Um, I like to view it as it's a part of me I haven't yet explored yet. And when I get to talk to somebody I don't really know or haven't really experienced their type, I get to explore that kind of personality in me that hasn't gotten to come out before. So it's not a complete lie. It's just me trying to exercise a different part of me that I'm not strong at. Which is another thing about INTPs probably, is that we focus more on what we are not good at rather than what we are good at. And at that point, I don't know what I'm actually good at. Because I have explored so many traits and so many skills. I would go to say that those are my strengths, but then they probably aren't. I got to a place where I can actually do those things well, better than the general population. But I'm hung up dry in my own purpose because I don't really know what I'm truly good at. And maybe being a Swiss Army man is a talent, but other than that, it's difficult. I mean, I guess I kind of do know it's a lot more psychological and how I interact with people and all that, but I don't know. But anyways, my original thought was like INTPs. You INTPs out there feeling misunderstood, trying to communicate to the world. You have thoughts and yet you feel like an idiot. It's okay. Confidence normally isn't a lack of confidence, but an increase of pride. I've discovered, and pride can come in different ways. Like self-pity can be very prideful and arrogant. And the more you try to squash yourself, the more you're actually hurting yourself. And I find that thankfulness actually increases your ability to look at people, communicate with them, meet with them, being okay with who you are and being okay with the quirks that you have, because you have a lot of them, and I would know. Yeah, but the question is, who do you thank? Well, that's up to you. You can thank a toaster oven if you like, or you can thank a creator of some sort, but you could do it whatever you like. I just find it's a great anecdote, one of those words, medicine, for battling that degradation, if that's a word. If we're about to say something that we know that will hurt the other person, not hurt them, but offend them, we would try to in any way articulate that thing, that topic, in the least, the most hearable way through because I would try to read the other person and try to get a base sense of like how they interpret things and how they understand things, and so if I was about to say something, it's not just like by how they do things, but also what they've revealed to me about what are some common motifs that they've said in their language. Like, for instance, they always talk about healing, but then they also say, like, they always want to heal people, but they also bring out that there's this other problem about themselves and they don't understand where it came from. But you start to piece these little things together, and if like for an INTP, if I'm about to say something that may kind of put someone else on edge, I would try to articulate that in riddle a little bit, in abstract that has absolutely no understanding, for sure, trying to convey to them that you should probably reconsider this, but I don't know how to express it without being direct. And so that's something I do all the time, and it makes me stutter and spit all over the place, and people are like, what in the world, just say it. But like, I can't, it's gonna cause rifts, and I don't want to cause a rift. So INTPs out there, you're not dumb. Stick to what you're doing. And again, I'll say, you can't really find that satisfaction in truth and wisdom unless you find the root of truth and wisdom. Because without it, nothing is going to make sense. Nothing is going to correlate together. Nothing is going to fully connect in its fullest potential, in its fullest form, revealing to you the fullest magnitude or awe essence of what life and humanity really is. Maybe that speaks to non-INTPs as well, but hey, whatever, I'll spit that out there just in case. And this is probably a several part video because I'm looking at my timer and I'm seeing 1 hour and 4 minutes. I'm a bloody fool, but I talk a lot. Actually, I don't, but I do now. It's funny, INTPs don't really communicate a lot of the times. We don't actually talk. We argue with ourselves with other people. I'm arguing myself while talking to another person, and they just happen to be the one listening to me arguing to myself. It's awful. So I'll definitely work on trying to be more personable and being present. I can feel lost and trapped, thinking that the wonderful things in my mind aren't conceivable or a reality or whatnot. And sometimes it's just okay to live in the moment, and we are eating bacon or going rock climbing and just being present with the people that you're with and just going through life that way. You want to see what time it is? You can't even see. 9:21. I have a message. Awesome, says Alan. Anyway, I'm going to call this a quits. I'm tired. And you all be awesome.